Okay, everyone. So, in the previous session, we were discussing about the eval function. So, what are the benefits of the eval function? How to make use of the eval function? So, what is the this is the example that we were dealing with. So, what is the advantage of eval function? I was telling you, it is used to dynamically read. See, input function will dynamically read the value from the user. It is always going to read the value as a string. So now if I want to perform any sort of arithmetic operations or anything else, I need to typecast it into that appropriate type, and then I need to store it into the variable. So this is the process I have been actually doing. Suppose if I want to take an integer number, I will take it like this. So I will say int of, I will say input of. So the input function will read the number, the int function will convert that number into an integer, and then it is going to store it in this variable. So if I want any float function, float value, I will do it like this. So this is the way in which we were doing. Again, your input function will read the value in form of a string. The float function will convert the value into a floating point, and then it is going to go and get stored in the variable. So now instead of doing like this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make use of a function which is called as eval. So what is the advantage of using the eval function here is, like, whatever is the input you're taking, input will definitely be as a string, but based on the input, the eval function will automatically evaluate or will automatically convert it into the appropriate data type, and then only it is going to store it in your variable. So this is what I was telling you in your last session. So we saw a couple of examples also for that. So whenever I execute the value based on what I am going to give, okay, so based on the value that I'm going to give, say suppose here if I am giving the number as 10, so what is happening, the input function will read it only as a string value. Say for example, let us clarify that a bit more. Okay, so what I am going to do here is, okay, see what I'm doing, I am saying a is equal to input of enter some number, then I'm saying say b is equal to eval of a. Okay, then I'm printing the b value and I am printing the type of b, and on top of that let me print the a value also and the type of a. Just have a look at this program to understand this better. See, last program, instead of doing it both together, I am separately doing this for you to understand this a little bit better. So first, the input function, you always know what is the input function going to do. It is going to get ask the user to enter some value. It is going to take that value and store it inside the variable in form of a string that will never change. Suppose say I am giving here the same value 10. So see what happens. It is taking the value, it is storing 10 inside A. But how is this getting stored? See, the first print statement denotes the A value. So value is 10, but what it is saying? The data type is a string. But when I use the eval function to typecast A, so what is happening now? The eval function, according to the value, what is being stored inside, will get converted into the appropriate data type. So no need for me to say here int of. Normally, what I have to do to convert it to an integer, I have to say int of. So that is not required. So let it be any type of data. So I'm giving a value like this. So again, see what happens. The 45.25 is taken and it is getting stored in the A variable. But it is getting stored in form of a string. So normally what I have to do, I have to say float of. So I don't know what type of value my user is going to give. I don't know whether my user is going to give an integer number, whether my user is going to give a complex number, or is my user going to give a floating point number. I don't know. I'm just saying enter some value, whatever be the data type of that value. So without knowing what data type he or she is going to give, how can I use the appropriate typecast function? Not possible. So that is why here I am using the eval. So eval will automatically convert it and store it in the data type. See, for example, again, I am using a complex number. See what happens. Input function will always read it as a string. No other choice. It will definitely read it as a string, but the eval function, see what it is doing. It is converting the data type and it is storing it in form of a complex number. Right. See, check out even for this. See, I am creating something like this 10, 20, but I am putting this inside the parenthesis. So please be very careful. I am putting this inside of the parenthesis. So whenever I put it inside of a parenthesis as a comma separated value, I have already told you this is going to be as a tuple. So this is going to be considered as a tuple. But now I am using the input function to read the value. So input function, by default, it is always going to read the value in form of a string only. So this entire thing will be taken as a string and stored inside A. Now when I use the eval function on it, see what happens. A is a string value only. See what happens. This entire thing is stored as a string inside the A. But when I use the eval function and convert A, what is happening? See, since it is under parenthesis, since it is a comma separated value, my eval function will guess, okay, so this is a tuple. So it will convert the value into a tuple and then it is going to store it inside the B variable. So this is the primary advantage of the eval function. So instead of writing it in a two-step process, see, Python is all about writing smaller programs, short codes. So that is why what I am doing, instead of doing like this, I am putting the eval function here itself. Instead of making it as a two-step process, I am going to put the eval function inside that itself. So what is the advantage it happens now? See, I don't require this B. So input function will read the value, eval function will convert that value and then it is going to get stored in the A variable. So this is the example I was telling you about. So anything as you said, like let us take a comma separated within the curly braces. See, automatically it is getting converted as a set. This is the eval function for you. Okay. Now let us see a small example, practical example of where I can make use of the eval function. So yes, I'm going to copy this program. Instead of saying float off, I'm going to say eval of. Okay, so I'm going to say eval of. So let us just say type of sum. Okay. So see what I'm doing. I'm asking the user to enter a value. So let us just say not even number. I'm just going to say enter a value. And here also I'm asking the user to enter a value. I'm not saying what type of value. I'm not giving anything regarding the type of value. I'm just saying enter a value. Right. So now let us run this program. So first time I am giving integer numbers. So when I give integer numbers, see what happens. How is my eval going to do? It is going to convert the numbers into an integer and it is going to perform an arithmetic operation. See, no problem, no error in the program. Okay, the same program I am executing again. This time I am giving some floating point numbers. See, still no error. But last time you remember the program in the previous session when I was explaining you this input function. So what happened? So when I used int of, it was actually throwing you an error. I had to use the appropriate typecasting function so that it will do the operation as it is. But here, one single program is enough to accept all kinds of value. So if I give integer also it accepts. If I give floating point also it accepts. See, it is getting converted into a float and it is storing the numbers. Okay, same program. Let me run. Here I am saying 10 plus 2j and 20 plus 3j. See what happens. The complex numbers are also getting added. See, the real part will get added with the real part. The imaginary part will be added with the imaginary part. See what is the result I am getting. Everything is a complex. Again, it is working fine. Okay, let me run this again. This time, I'm going to give a string value. And remember, in eval function alone, what did I say? When you are giving a string value, we have to give it inside a single quotes or double quotes. That's our choice. How we want to give is our choice. So here I'm giving the value like this. See what happens. Concatenation. So one single program is enough to perform all sort of plus operators. Whichever way you want to use the plus operator, whether you want to add two numbers, floating point numbers, integer numbers, complex numbers to string values, whatever it is, I can make use of it within one single program. That is the advantage of my eval function. That is the advantage of my eval function, right? So other than this, what are the important points you should be knowing with regards to the eval function? Okay, just see here, just have a look here. I am saying a is equal to 10. Okay, so I'm just giving a is equal to 10. So now I'm saying b is equal to eval of a. Okay, I'm just saying b is equal to eval of a. So now you see what happens. I am saying print, okay, b. Now let me execute this program. See what happens. So eval function argument 1 must be a string. So this is the main point what we have to discuss. So remember, eval function will always take a string value as its parameter. You cannot give any other data type. So now you understand all here why we are using the input function inside the eval, because the input function will always read the value in form of a string. So we are passing a string value only inside the eval function. Let it be this or let it be this program. Here also the input function will read the value as a string. So the previous way what I did, I used to take it like this. I did the program like taking like this, and then I said b is equal to eval of a. This way I did. But here also what happens, the input function will read the value as a string. So inside a, it will be holding only a string value. That string value only I am passing as a parameter for my eval. So always remember, the eval function will be taking the string as its value. So it can convert only string values. It can evaluate only string values. So when you are going to give something like this, then it is going to throw you an error. Then it is going to definitely throw you an error. Say, same thing if you are giving like this. Same value if you are giving like this. See, now it is working because this is a string value. Because I am enclosing it with a single quote. So it is treated as a string. So string value you can pass inside the eval. So what it is going to do? It is going to convert it into an integer and then it is going to store it into the B. So this is a possibility, but if you are going like this, then it is not. It is going to throw you the error. So this is the first thing. What very important point what you have to remember with regards to the eval function. Okay. Now what more? What more? I can perform any arithmetic operations also using the eval function. See what happens here. See what is that I have done here. See the different operations that I am doing here. See, I am creating a variable called x. So I am saying x is equal to 100. Now you may ask, ma'am, this x is an integer. Yes, x is an integer. But when I am giving inside the eval, see how I am giving. Within double quotes, I am saying x into 2. So within double quotes, when I give x into 2, see what happens is, eval means, first understand, eval means evaluate. So what it is going to do is, it is going to take this as an expression. It will take this as an expression. Then it will replace the x value with 100. So 100 into 2. So what is the value for that? That value will be evaluated and that is going to be printed as a result for us. Okay, now what I have to do is I have to add a print statement, because without the print statement, obviously I will not be able to see the result. So let me run this, see what happens. Very nice. Look at the other ones. So other ones also put it inside a print so that we will be able to see the output of it. There you go. Right. So the second one, this is the first one. Okay. The second one I'm saying 2 double star. So what is the purpose of a double star here? Double star means power of. It is an arithmetic operator. So double star is an arithmetic operator here. And what it means is exponent, or we call it as a power of. So this is same as 2 to the power of 8. So 2 into 2 into 2 into like that 8 times it is going to multiply the values. So then it is going to produce a result for me. So remember, since the eval function always takes a string as its value, the expression we have to put it inside a double quotes. So then only it is going to get evaluated and that value is going to get printed. So same here, 1024 plus 1024, just a small arithmetic operation. Now, have a look here. I have a function called as sum. So, please understand, sum is a predefined function. So, here what I am using sum. Sum is a predefined function. It is used to find the sum. That is nothing but the total of all the elements inside a list or a tuple. So this is a common function. You can use this function for a list also. You can use the sum function for a tuple also. So what is the purpose of it? It is used to find the sum of all the numbers. So inside the list, if I'm having some 10 numbers, so I want to find the sum total of all the 10 numbers. So for that, they have given me one predefined function which is called as sum. So here what you can do is, instead of this, since we are just starting our Python level, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say L is equal to, so I'm creating a list and I'm storing it inside this variable L. So then I'm saying sum of, for what I want to find the sum, I want to find the sum of L. So add all these three elements inside the list and tell me the total of it. So the eval function will do that and it is going to print the result for me. So let us run this. Okay. 1 second guys. Let me just check what the error is here. It's matching. STR is not callable. Okay, let me just check this guys. It's supposed to work. I don't know where is the, it's actually getting executed, but I don't know why it is not coming. See, actually it is accepted, but I don't know what is the problem here. I'm facing this error. I just have to check with Jupyter guys. I just don't know whether I have to change anything. I'll just check that. See, the same program I'm running here. So here also I have to put everything inside a print statement then for me to see the output. So as I said, the first one is the exponent. So it is going to say 2 to the power 8, whatever is the value, it is going to print that. Okay, and this set, okay, let us say. So first it is going to say 2 to the power 8, and then it is going to evaluate this arithmetic expression, and then it is going to give you the sum of it, and then a simple multiplication operator. So let me just run this. See, it works perfectly, but I don't know what is the problem, what is the small mistakes I made here. I will just check that out. Okay, but the program is correct, it will run. So as I said, sum is a predefined function, so it is available for both my list and my tuples. The purpose of the sum function is inside whatever you are going to pass, whether if you are passing a list or you are passing a tuple. So the number of elements, how many elements numbers are there, it will add everything, and it is going to be printing the for me according to that. So this is the eval function. So not only for reading the value inputs, I will be using the eval function to evaluate any expressions also. See, same way here, have a look at this. So this is another set of expressions where I'm going to be using. So I'm saying x is equal to 100, y is equal to 100. So I'm going to do some comparisons. I'm going to do some comparisons between these operators. So that also can be done. So this is also accepted. So it says x not equal to y. So no, it is false because both the values are same. So x less than 200 to y greater than 100, false. So let me run this again. I just have to make sure it is inside a print. And I will tell you what is this import math. Just give me a sec. Let me. And for my last function. Okay. So now just have a look here. So first I'm going to do certain comparison on this. So see what it says, x not equal to y. So this is a string value. The string value is going to get evaluated because I'm using the eval function here, and it is giving me the result as false because x is. Guys, you are able to hear my voice now? I'm sorry,
Yes, ma'am. Now it is audible.
Okay,
small
ma'am. Now, okay,
disturbance in
ma'am.
between. Is my voice audible now?
Okay, ma'am. Now clear, ma'am.
Okay, done. Okay, so as I was telling you about these expressions, so the first one says x not equal to y. So this is going to give me the result as false because both the x and the y values are same. So that is why when I say it is not equal, it is going to give me the result as false. So the second expression, see what I'm doing here. I am having two expressions here. So x less than 200, this is one expression. Y greater than 100, this is another expression. So using one of the logical operators, I am combining these two together. So now you say x less than 200, this is true. But y greater than 100, this is false. So remember, when I'm using the AND operator, both the expressions has to be true. Then only my result will be said as true. So since this is true, this is false, it is going to give me the result also as false only. Now, then I'm saying x is y. So x is y. I hope you guys remember when we were talking about the mutable and immutable concepts. I just told you that if both the variables values are same, then what is the Python going to do? It is going to create only one single memory for it. It will create one memory, and inside that memory it is going to store the value 100, and both x and y variable will be pointing to the same address. So the is operator will check, okay, the is operator, purpose of the is operator is to check whether the x and the y are having the same memory address or not. So that is the purpose of the is operator. We call this as an identity operator. We call this as an identity operator. Now, since the value of x and since the value of y is same, then both are going to be pointing to the same memory location. So that is why when I say x is y, it is giving me the result as right. Now check the last one. The last expression here, I am making use of an operator called as in. So in operator, please remember, in operator is used to for searching purpose. It is used for searching purpose. So this is a set. This I am having a set. If I want to know whether this value x is what, 100. So whether 100 is present inside this set or not, I want to check that. Okay, so I want to check whether 100 value is present inside the set or not. How to do that? So I will say x, which is nothing but the value I want to search for. So x in this set. So if it is there, it is going to say true. If it is not there, it is going to say false. Since the variable value is 100 and the set is also having an element called as 100, it is giving me the result as true. Suppose, see here, I am changing the value. The set does not have a value as 100. So when I run this piece of code, see what happens. It is going to give me the result as those also I can use it. So these kinds of expressions also to evaluate, I can make use of the eval function. So I can use the eval function for arithmetic operations. If I want to perform any arithmetic operations, I will put the value as a string and I'll pass it inside the eval. So eval function will evaluate this operation and it is going to give me the result. So I can either store the result or I can either print the result. That is my choice. So if I want to do any variable comparisons, so I want to compare these two. For that also I can use the eval. So if I want to find search operation, anything using the in operator, for that also I can use the eval to evaluate my expression. So understand the purpose of it is to evaluate the expression. Okay, now math. Math is a module. Math is like a header file. So you know in C we use header files. So what is the first line of program we write when we write the C program? We say hash include stdio.h. So what is that stdio.h? So stdio.h we call that as a header file. So we call that as a header file. So what is the purpose of that header file? So header file contains predefined functions. So header files are nothing but some files which contains predefined functions. So we want to make use of that predefined function in our program. Suppose I want to use printf. Printf is a predefined function. Printf is a predefined function of C language. So the printf function is present inside the stdio. So that is why we are using the hash include stdio, so that you can make use of the predefined functions present in that particular file. Same way, when if you are learning Java, you have the import statements in Java also. So for importing some predefined, again, whatever the predefined functions are there, they are creating the function and they are placing it inside a file. So whenever we want to make use of that predefined function, we have to import that file in our program. So that is what I am doing here also. So I have a predefined module. We call here the packages as a module. So I have a predefined module called as math. So inside the math, what they have done, I have one predefined variable called as pi. We know what is a pi. Pi value is 3.1415, like that a big number will be there. So, and I have a function called as POW, power off function. So I have a function called as POW, which is nothing but power off. So, and then I have something else. I have another function called as SQRT, square root. If I want to find the square root, for that also I have a function, which all these are present inside the math module. So what I'm going to do is I am going to import the math module. So after importing the module, please remember, whenever you are going to use it, you have to say math.py. That is module name dot my variable name. Module name dot my function name. Module name dot my function name. So this is how I'm going to make use of it. So this is just a formula. I am just putting the formula inside. So area of a circle, I have a formula. I have just applied that formula. Volume of a sphere, I have a formula. I am again applying that formula. And for hypothesis of a right angle, again I am implying the formula. So what I am doing, I am putting this inside a string and I am using the eval function. So the eval function will evaluate the string value. It will produce an output, and that output I am going to be. So the various ways in which you can actually make use of your eval function. So these are the different ways in which I will be actually making use of this function. So I can use it to evaluate any expressions. I can use it to read the values from my user and typecast it into the appropriate type. So eval functions we will be using for many different things. So later on, when we go on in our program, we will again be making use of these functions in lot of different scenarios. So we shall be discussing all these things when we are doing our programs, right? So basically this is about your eval function.